All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Misty Scott, and I will be your host today. I'm also joined by James Graham, our Chief Product Officer, and Serena, our Technical Product Manager. She's going to do the hands-on part of this session today. So, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. First, we are recording this session and we will share that recording with you afterwards. So, if you get pulled away, don't worry, you won't miss anything. Second, please use the Q&A or chat panel throughout. You don't need to hold your questions to the end. You can just drop them in there as they occur to you, and we'll get to as many as we can. And if we don't get to it, we're going to send you a follow-up email. And third, this is deliberately a short focus session, so we'll just keep things moving. So, James will provide some context for today's session, and then the bulk of the time will be a live demo from Serena. All right, you can move on to the next slide. So, why are we here today? Today is about something we call the validation ring. And the simplest way I could frame it is a single question. You tested the package, but did you test the deployment? The gap between it works on my bench and it works when Intune actually delivers it to a real user is where a surprising amount of pain lives. So, over the next half hour, we're going to go right into that and show you how to close that gap. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so a quick word on who is talking to you today. James Graham runs a product here at Remo 3, which in practice means he spends most of his week talking to IT teams about the things making their lives harder. So that's patching, packaging, deployment, compliance, and the validation ring came straight out of those conversations, and he'll set up the why for you guys over the next few minutes. And the person who's going to make it real is Serena. Serena is our technical product manager. She lives in this product day in and day out, and she's going to take you through the validation ring live on an actual Intune-managed Windows 365 cloud PC. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and toss it on over to you, James.
Thank you, Misty. Okay, so let me quickly, yeah, I did move the slide, set out how the next half hour is going to run so you know what's coming. I'm going to start with what I'm calling the deployment blind spots. It's like a handful of questions that if you manage applications through Intune, I suspect are already nagging at you. Then I'm going to introduce the core idea behind today, making validation your ring zero on a real production twin. So those questions get answered before your users ever touch the app. Then I have the pleasure of handing over to Serena for the heart of the session, which is the live demo. This is where we'll introduce you to our Cloud PC capabilities, and you watch the validation ring deploy an app through Intune onto a real Cloud PC and validate it end to end. That's the part I'd really stay for. And then after that, Serena will lob it back to me, and I'll come back and pull it up to the admin's eye view, what your day actually looks like once this is running. And then Serena will share where we're taking it next. And there's some genuinely exciting roadmap, especially around how this is going to plug into our patching story. And then we will have some time for your questions. So let's get cracking with the problem itself, because I think it's one of those things everyone feels, but very few people have actually stopped and named. So when you push an app out through Intune, you've almost certainly tested the package. It installed cleanly on your packaging machine. It passed your checks. You signed it off. And that really feels like, hey, the job's done. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That isn't the question your users are about to put to the test. The question they will answer on your behalf live in production is, does the deployment actually work? And those are two completely different questions. So let me give you the four that come up in almost like all of these conversations that I have with our customers. Number one, will Intune even install it? So a package that could be flawless on your bench could still fail to land on a real managed endpoint. So the enrollment state is different. A dependency isn't there. The delivery just doesn't behave the way it did in the lab. Number two, will an update actually succeed? So it's not just about installing net new applications, but version to version is where things can quietly break. Supersedence, an in-place upgrade, an app that happens to be open when a new version tries to install. It's these things that can cause the pain. Number three, will a security baseline break it? So you've done all the work, you've hardened the device, you've published your attack surface reduction rules or app blocker or controlled folder access, and any of those can stop an app launching, even though it installed perfectly. And number four, will a configuration profile change how the app behaves? Maybe a proxy, a certificate, a defender or browser policy, and suddenly the app runs completely differently and you had no warning. And here's the part that should really bother us. Where do most teams find the answer to these four questions today? And it's in production, right? It's your pilot users, your actual real people are effectively your ring zero. They're the ones who hit these problems first. And by the time they do, you're having to do the firefighting. You're on the back foot, and it's your credibility that takes the hit. This is the blind spot. So the obvious question, the one that sets up everything Serena's going to be showing you is this. Like, what if you could answer all four of those questions before a single real person was ever involved? And that is exactly what the validation ring is for. The whole idea in one sentence, stop using people as your first ring. Give yourself a real ring zero, one with no humans on the other end of it. And there are four ideas sitting underneath what Serena's about to show you, and they matter because each one closes one of the gaps I just described. So first of all, we deploy the app through Intune, not side-loaded, not copied onto a VM, not near enough, through Intune, exactly the way your users receive it. Because if you generally want to know whether the deployment's going to work, you have to actually deploy it. Second, we deploy it onto a real Windows 365 cloud PC. So that's Entra-joined, that's Intune-managed, Intune-enrolled, carrying the same security baselines and the same configuration profiles as your real fleet. It's a true production twin. And that's what lets us catch the baseline and profile problems because the endpoint is really hardened and configured like yours, not a clean room copy. And then third, we test the deployed app, the actual version your users will receive, installed the way they'll receive it. Does it install? Does it launch? Does it run? And fourth and finally, we do all of this before the broad rollout. So all four questions get answered in Ring Zero and never in production. That's the concept. But honestly, the far more interesting thing is just watching it happen. So let me hand over to Serena to show you what it looks like. Over to you.
Thank you, James. I will share my screen now. Okay, so the story that James presented, I will just start from the beginning with my demo. And the beginning starts with the Entra-joined cloud PCs. So cloud PCs are managed like real endpoints through Intune. They carry a real identity and policy. They are Entra-joined, and the apps that are deployed to the cloud PCs are pushed through Intune. So considering everything starts here, I want to show you how you can create a cloud PC directly from our platform. If you're familiar with our platform under test environments, we have now the cloud PC management page where you can see that I already have two cloud PCs provisioned. They look the same on an initial view, but the environment that they're handling is a bit different. we do offer you the possibility to test in two different ways. So we know that the best practice for a test tells us that it should always run on a clean environment, it should be repeatable, and so on. So this is what our Clean Environment Cloud PC offers. What it does, it pushes the application on it, tests it, and once the test is done, it restores to its clean state. We know that's perfect, that's ideal, but that's not the real world. The real world is basically a persistent environment when history piles up, when versions pile up, registry entries, files leftovers from previous uninstalls, and so on. So that's why we are offering you the possibility to do it in two ways based on your choice. I just want to guide you a bit through the steps on how you can create a cloud PC on our platform. So it's pretty easy. We just have 4 steps in which you can either select an existing user for that cloud PC or just create a new one. I'll just try it with a new user. If you have a license available, which fortunately I do, I'll select the license. I'll select the security group for this cloud PC. I'll just choose an existing one. You need to also either create a new provision policy or pick up a new one. I'll just choose to select a new test policy, to which I will be choosing which OS I want to have on my cloud PC. I'll select the Windows 11 Enterprise and the environment part. This is where the differentiation comes up. So you can choose how you want to use that cloud PC, if it's like a real world persistent one, or you just want to test if your app installs on a clean, isolated environment. I'll just pick up the persistent one. Here I have all the information that I've selected, and just upon confirm and provision, I will trigger the creation of the cloud PC. Sorry. Okay, yes. Too many clicks. And poof. Okay, sorry for that. This was just to demo the provisioning of the cloud PC. Apparently there's a problem. The good news is I already have the 2 cloud PCs available, and you know the steps to go through it. Okay, so that aside, considering I already have the 2 cloud PCs available, let's see how we can use them. So there are several ways you can use the cloud PCs to test your applications. For that, I will be navigating to our modern readiness dashboard. So on this dashboard, I have my full list of applications that have already been imported and discovered in my WorkspaceDNA tenant. I can do batch testing on a cloud PC. So let's just pick up a few applications that I have here that haven't been yet tested. And I have 3 packages that I would like to test. I have the 2 cloud PCs available here, which is the persistent and the clean one. If I will be choosing both of them, I am prompted to select the testing strategy. This implies that multiple apps, multiple cloud PCs, I can choose if I want to let WorkspaceDNA platform to choose the balancing in between the multiple cloud PCs. Or if I have, for example, different OSs on them, I can choose to run each application on each cloud PC. I do have now, just for the sake of the demo, a combination of persistent and clean. We do not recommend doing that for the distribution of the apps because you cannot really control which one goes on which. I think the best practice would be to choose only persistent or only clean, but that is your choice. If I have a persistent cloud PC, I can I can choose to skip specific steps. So for example, you'll see further on, if I already have the application installed, I can skip the install step, or I don't want to test the uninstall. This is your choice. With this, I will just leave it to go as it is. So starting the test, it will trigger the testing of those applications on the cloud PCs that I've selected. Considering that it will take a while to have those tests run, I will be just showing you some applications that I have already selected and run through this test. Okay, just a second. It's the test environment, so if you'll excuse me, I'll just have to refresh a bit. Okay. Okay, so I'm still on this page. You can see that I have the applications that I've triggered already being in progress. What's happening behind the scenes, if we were to look at the sequence, we can see that on the cloud PC, I've already started the installation of the application. A smoke test has been started, then it will finalize with an uninstall. And as you can see, this is running on a clean cloud PC. So at the end, restore will happen once the test has been run. Now, going back to our modern readiness dashboard, I want to show you something which I think it's really powerful, is the differentiation between the clean and persistent cloud PC. So I have an application, same application, different cloud PCs. I have, sorry, typo, Power BI application. Taken from my patch catalog, as you can see, the same version run on two different environments. The first time I've run it in isolation, I wanted to see how this application installs on a clean machine. I see that my test is successful, uninstall worked, restore worked, everything is perfect. So my decision would be to push this application further because everything goes well. But how about if I'm a bit skeptical and I would like to see how does it work on a real environment? So here I've tested it on my persistent cloud PC where I had a previous version of Power BI. I had multiple applications already installed, some leftovers on the OS, and my surprise is that smoke test failed on this environment because it couldn't really start the application, although installation worked. So this is what differentiation would look like in between clean, isolated environment and the real one, which has a lot of history data piled up. Okay, and next would be the real interesting stuff. It's the pushing of the application through Intune. Now, if you've been to our previous webinars, you probably are familiar with the way you can push apps into Intune by using our Intune deployment templates. I already have a template here defined, which is this one, deploy Intune applications. It's connected to an Intune instance. I can see that it has two phases, and the interesting part is the group assignment part. The group assignment, I have two groups assigned to this template, and one of them is the Rings Your Device group, which is the same security group that I am using for Cloud PC that I have already provisioned, is the persistent one that you've seen before. So by using this template, I will be able to actually get the application to my Cloud PC. I'll just show you how this works from our patch catalog really quickly. I'll choose a common application. Let's do Notepad++. Okay, I have my workspace. I want to take it to Intune. I'll select my Intune instance and the template I was just showing you. So I'll select subscribe to the latest version of the application. I can choose how many versions I want to keep on my Intune and storage so I don't pile up older versions, and it's triggered. So now what's happening behind the scenes, the application gets imported, tested on a classic VM. It gets exported to Intune, and from there, Intune will do the assignments based on our security group, and it will push it to my device, which is my cloud PC. Everything takes around 20 to 30 minutes. So conscious of time, I cannot wait that long, but being prepared, let me just go back and show you that I already have a deployment that worked, which is this one with PyCharm with the same template. It was deployed 2 phases as defined in the template. It was assigned to my Ring 0 device group. So considering that Intune takes up to 8 hours to push the application on the actual device, I had to prepare ahead and triggered it yesterday. So now let's just switch to the cloud PC that I have. Okay, this is the cloud PC, the persistent one. And I just want to check that, okay, I have here also in recent PyCharm, same version. Let's check the notifications and see among other applications that I have PyCharm pushed from Intune, which is the one, this one, same version. So now the application is already installed using the Intune deployment template. It reached my device. And what I can do now is I can just come back here to my modern readiness dashboard. Search for the PyCharm one. I've already run a test on it. So this test has been run with skipping installed. Let's just look at the sequence, and I can see that on this cloud PC, the smoke test has been run. As you can see, no install, no uninstall happened. It's just a test that I've run on an application that was pushed through Intune and installed by Intune on my device. So this is the validation ring that can happen through our platform before handing over and pushing this application to the rest of the rings. So I think this sums up my demo. I'll just hand it over to you, James.
Thank you. Let me jump back to the slides. I think that's working. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Serena. That was awesome to see it in action. I hope you all enjoyed that. Yeah, it's really great to watch to see it in action. But before we talk about a roadmap, I just want to bring this back up to the admin's eye view, because I think this is the part that really matters when you're deciding whether this is for you. Like the question is simple, really. What does your day actually look like once the validation ring is running? And the honest answer is that there's, Serena showed there's a bit of setup done once, and then there's everything after. The setup is really the 4 steps, really. You map your estate, you get clear on the apps that your real users run and the baselines and profiles they run under. You stand up the ring, persistent Windows 365 cloud PCs, Entra-joined, Intune enrolled, all of that happens automatically. You're able to mirror production, so you're able to apply the same baselines and configuration profiles your actual fleet has. So therefore that digital twin is a genuine twin. And then we define the pass or fail, what installed and working really means for each app. And that's it. A couple of days work maybe, or hours work, and you're done. And from that point on, The ring runs the loop. You step back out of it. Intune deploys the update. The app installs on the cloud PC exactly as it would on a user's machine. We smoke test it. Does it launch? Does it run? The baselines and profiles are applied. Does it still work with all of that in place? We have the results logged, pass or fail. On a pass, we can promote it to a pilot and then production. On a fail, we hold it back and we are aware before anyone is affected. And I want you to really notice and think about the shift in who does the finding. In the old world, where your pilot users find the problems, and that's the firefighting I talked about earlier. But in this world, a real endpoint finds them first. Every app, every update before production. And that for me is the whole headline. You know before they do. And that's the real key. And yeah, now where do we go next? Serena.
Yes, where do we go next from here? So you've seen the application pushed through Intune, tested once it was deployed by Intune. Our next big thing is, and primary focus is bringing this ring zero into the patching workflow. So we don't want you to trigger manually that test once the application has reached the device. We want you to just look at it and do it hands off. So what we're trying to do is put the validation ring as a new phase in our Intune deployment templates at the very front row of that workflow. So instead of a new version heading straight down the pipe, it gets first deployed and tested on the cloud PC. And from there on, if it passes, it will be promoted to the next rings automatically. That's the model we're building towards. Second is bringing your own cloud PC. So what I've shown you today is the possibility to create a cloud PC through our platform. But of course, in order to do that, you will have to grant us a set of permissions to create the cloud PCs on your behalf. And we know that's a big ask in some environments. So we're building the possibility for you to provision the cloud PCs and just attach them on our platform. And in this case, we will only require the read permissions on those cloud PCs. And third, so currently I've shown you the smoke test on the cloud PC, which is installing the app, starting the app, see that it runs, and then uninstalling the application. We want to go deeper with that test by including our ATP 360, which is our computer-used agent feature, where you will be able to go into deep functional testing and driving the application the way a real user would actually use it. And fourth, it's the vulnerability-driven patching. Right now, patching is triggered whenever a new version becomes available. We're integrating discovered vulnerability data directly into the workflow. So patching can be driven by the CVEs that actually affect you rather than simply there's a new version out there. So these are the four main directions we're moving towards. Back to you now, Misty, for the live Q&As.
All right. So we've had quite a few questions in the Q&A here, and I know, James, you've answered many of them. Are there any that you kind of want to double click on and kind of call out? Yeah.
So a lot of the questions are asked about the ones I've covered off are really about core remote-free capabilities. So I think there's probably some good links, probably via the website or maybe a follow-up conversation that we can facilitate on that to really go deeper into the Remo free platform. So like with these short webinars, we are targeting very specific features that we are releasing. So I think for those that aren't familiar with the full capabilities of the platform, I definitely think it's worthwhile scheduling a demo or something so you can really go deep on those bits and really understand how we're doing things under the hood, including architecture review, and then you can really fire away with all of your questions in that interactive session. So yeah, from those perspective, I just want to call out that piece. We're happy to support you guys and provide more education. I think there is one I haven't answered yet.
Real quick, James, while you're
Oh,
answering that, if you want to flip to the next slide, because I just want to give them the opportunity
oh
to
yeah, please.
scan. Yeah. All right.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So I guess the somebody's asked a question around I guess they're already using rings in Intune. So how is it different from the pilot ring that they already have and run? Um, so I think like I can answer that real quickly. I think the difference is what I've highlighted is that really this isn't about users finding the challenges or issues. It's really about automation finding the issues before it hits a real user. And that's really the key differentiator here. Like Ring Zero becomes fully automated. And as Serena discussed in the journey, this is going to be integrated into our patching story, and suddenly that becomes an automated gate for your updates that come from our patch catalog. So those updates come in for your third-party apps. We have a number of gates already today, what we have available. So we already have the automated smoke test on a clean VM. That is a gate that exists today. So if it fails that gate, then it doesn't go to Intune. If it passes that gate, it does go to Intune and we do the assignment. And really, that's where you can start to bring in the Ring Zero concept, where it will then go to our cloud PC for testing against your production-like environment, that digital twin. So your configuration policies, your security baselines, the app's deployed by Intune. So we confirm Intune successfully deploys the app or applies the update, and then we automate the testing as well. So you don't have to do anything. And if the test is successful there, that's the final validation or gate to then push it to your next phase, which would likely be live users. And that's it. And that can work for every patch, every third-party app patch that you do throughout your time to stay secure, to stay updated. And then we're going to keep building on that story as Serena shared. And I'm going to stop talking now because I know we're way over time.
Yeah, James, thank you so much. And also thank you, Serena. Genuinely, everyone who's attended today, we very much value your time. We know it is one of the scarcest thing that you have, so we really do appreciate you joining us today. If anything that you saw today resonated, the single best next step is to see it against your own environment. So you can scan the QR code on the screen. You can also go to the link that I threw in the chats and you can actually see it working on your tenant, your apps, your baselines, your profiles. So you can watch your own deployments get validated on a real cloud PC before you commit to anything. So yep, you can just go ahead and click on that and there's, no strings attached. All right, so we will also be sending you a free pre-deployment checklist for Intune after this session. And this is generally just a useful tool to have whether or not you take it further with Remo 3, just a free gift to you guys. But I want to thank you all for joining us today. We hope it was meaningful and impactful for you and your businesses, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.